Hello, my friends. It's Andy coming to you live from Orange County, California, and in particular, the Placentia Yorba Linda School District area, which we're going to be talking about tonight. We had a meeting last night. This is a show that's beginning to be a regular show as I attend the school board meetings and learn more and more about the problems we have in our school system, not only in Placentia Yorba Linda School District, but in the state of California and, of course, across the United States. Now, I have often said that we're pretty fortunate that we live where we live, that this school district seems to be better than most. But when you are comparing yourself to schools that are at the bottom of the barrel, I mean, how much better can that be? So they are better, but we're very quickly going down a road that we could be pulled down to the areas of what's happening in Baltimore and Chicago, Los Angeles, and some of these other school districts that are just horrible. Overall, what I just recently learned is in the United States, our children, our education is 25th in the world. 25th in the world to these other countries. How is it we are going to compete with these other countries if we're not educating our children to be the best in the world? We're going to be satisfied with mediocrity. We're going to be satisfied with children not able to attend colleges, or they're going to do things like they're doing in Oregon, where they're reducing the requirements of graduation down to nothing, or Nevada, where you don't even have to show up. You don't even have to do your homework. The reason they're doing that is because we are not educating our children. And the only place that some of these places can go is to a place of reducing the requirements of graduation, because they are, number one, not willing. They're saying due to equity or some other racist issue that they obviously can't make children read. we can't make them get the right answer in a math equation. That would be racist. It is just one of the craziest things that I have ever heard in my entire life. Some of these things that are going on in these cities is incredible. And if you would, please, like Shar Marie here, if you would comment, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate that. She says she's been looking forward to my synopsis of last night's meeting. Well, there are some things. This show could be very long, and I had to pare it down to a few subjects here. But what I wanted to first say, and I wanted to admit to everybody, is that I, unfortunately, am one of those people that has caused this problem. And I feel like there's a few others. The one thing that the pandemic and the CRT issues and being called a racist and as a law enforcement officer for 21 years, for over 2 decades, being called a racist as a police officer, where they're actually kicking law enforcement out of schools, not in our school district, but in other schools. It has woken me up. But I am one of those people that when it came around to voting, I voted for the top ticket, whoever was running for president, or maybe in some cases who was running for governor, who was running for even on a lower level, Senate and Congress. And then everybody else, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I often just check the box for the incumbent. And I got to say that I may be one of the people that have caused some of this problem, where people like Karen Freeman and the other lady, I forgot her name, Buck, who wasn't there last night, that I just continued to vote for them. And they seemingly thought that, we must be doing a great job. We're going to continue to believe that we are the ones raising your children and not you. And I am one of those people that I'm pretty sure that I just was looking for the people that were incumbents, because at the time it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, and voted these people back in. Well, that's going to change because what is the saying? You've awakened a sleeping giant. I think that's what has happened between the pandemic and CRT and calling cops racist and calling white people racist. They've awoken a sleeping giant in the form of parents that are now paying attention. So I love seeing the parents. It seems like we see a few more parents each time we have a school board meeting, but we still need more people to show up. And we had quite a few good speakers there yesterday. And then we had some people that were just misinformed in regard to masks and CRT and some other things that are going on. So the one thing I wanted to talk about is something that came up really early. Well, maybe it wasn't really early, but it was during the public speaking portion of the meeting. And that was that in addition to the mask, which was a hot topic, of course, as it's been for the last couple of meetings, but the children, I believe there are 3 or 4 children that were of Asian descent who came up and very eloquently spoke of times that they were the subject of racist comments, where they talked about people, other children coming up to them and asking them, what their favorite recipe for eating a dog is, or something about their slanted eyes, or some other racial slur. I'm very concerned about that. Of course, there's no doubt in my mind that I am concerned that would be happening in our school. The thing that I want to talk about here, sorry, I got something going on with somebody's trying to call in right now. And that is this the first time we've heard of it? If it is, why did they not bring it up when it happened at school? Why did they not bring it up to a teacher? Why did they not bring it up to the school district? Why didn't the parents have a meeting? Now, I'm not saying that they didn't do that. I'm just saying if this is the first time we're hearing about it, why? If they reported it to the school district, if they reported it to their teachers, if they reported it to an employee at the school, what happened? I think that the school board should look into see what happened. That's how these things get solved. If these children feel, and the parents, I'm guessing, approved or suggested that these children come up and speak, what is it that the parents did? Where are the parents in all this? There were so many unanswered questions, and I had some concerns. Now, again, I want to remind you, I've been a police officer for over 2 decades. I testify in court cases quite often. I investigate police officers. I investigate law enforcement. I investigate suspects in regard to criminal activity, and so I'm suspect of anybody, including witnesses and victims, as to whether the story they're telling me is accurate. So what I would like to do, and I would encourage anybody who was at the meeting or who listened to these children, is that we should hold the school board or whoever it is that we can, the supervisors, to look into these incidents and find out what happened. Did they get reported? And if they did, what happened? Were children suspended for saying these things? We need to really find out what's happening. Just coming in, and this is one of my concerns, that just coming in on a school board meeting like this and making these claims is one of my concerns, because we find it also in the people that come in and demand all of our children wear masks. They say, well, the science says, okay, well, show me the science. There is no science. There is one study that has been done recently that's inconclusive on whether masks help children not catch COVID or pass on COVID, and it's inconclusive. There was nothing found. You would think out of the billions of dollars that was put into the COVID incident here in our country, that somebody would have done a study to find out. There are plenty of studies that say that masks harm us. So just going back to my other thing, so you come in and you say these things. And again, I'm not calling the children liars. I just want to know, now, are we looking into it? If this is the first time you're hearing about it, we need to investigate it. We need to contact the children, contact the parents, and find out who the perpetrators of these racial slurs were, and address it and talk to them. Do we need to put those children in some type of counseling? Do we need to talk to them and talk to the parents and say this shouldn't happen? If it happens again, they'll be suspended. None of those things, as far as I know, are going to take place, but I think that they should. And so I wanted to address that. I think it was just an important thing, because they are the ones who came in and brought it up. They brought it up as issues in regard to our school, and it really didn't have any context as to why. Was it because they thought we needed to have CRT CRT in our schools? Was it because they felt that the school board wasn't addressing it? Is it because they felt the school district wasn't addressed it? Is it because they felt that they told the teachers and nobody did anything about it? That's where this needs to go. What is it that needs to happen because of these children that felt obligated or were moved to come before the school board and speak? Additionally, they knew that I was recording because I was there in the front row with my phone and camera, and they knew that this was going to be broadcasted out. So I'm calling upon the school board and the school district to look further into these incidents to find out what happened. If it is happening, it needs to stop. And this is how we're going to address it. We don't come in and bring in a whole new curriculum that is now called Asian Lives Matter or, some other type of racial equity type of training. These are things that can be taken care of. These are things that there's solutions for them. There's ways of handling these things that can take place that doesn't cause children who are not racist, who are not saying these things to Asian children, to Hispanic children, to Black children, that they need to be now suddenly put through an hour-long course every day on their racist colors that are in their skin. All right. So I just want to bring that up, that we need to look into this and we need to do it the right way, not change how we're going to teach our children as we go forward. All right. So that was that subject that I wanted to definitely bring up at the beginning. Just coming back to the board, and I wrote this down, and I just want to I want to make sure that I bring this up because this is where I think that we need to understand that we have a problem in our school board and in our school district. Is that unfortunately I'm sorry, I misread my own writing here. Fortunately, the pandemic and CRT have exposed those in the district and on the school board who do not have our children's best interest in mind. We have people drunk with power who only care about spreading an evil agenda. They discount parents and have started to believe they know what is best for our kids and not us as parents. This is the problem, is that they often discount us as parents as what it is that we think is necessary for teaching our children, what we have as our role as parents in regard to teaching our children how to behave, how to not be racist perhaps, or how to play well with others and how to get their homework done and that type of thing. They have decided that, you know what, that's not the parents' role anymore. That's our job. And so we're going to take that over, whether the parents like it or not, and disregard us. How do I know this? Well, I have sent quite a few emails since my children have been going to Placentia Urban School District, and they just simply have a history of not responding to emails. And I promise you that my emails are not inflammatory. Well, they're not to me. I don't think they, I think anytime you probably question somebody, they feel they're inflammatory. But I asked them, I say, I want to understand what the school's position is, what the school district's position is, what the school board's position is on critical race theory, on equity training, on these curriculums that have other names that they claim are not CRT, but are clearly CRT. What is the school board's position? What is the school district's position? And inevitably, only one or two of the school board members respond. Nobody else responds. The supervisors never responded to my email in regard to that question. They've never responded to my questions about masking our children. They've not responded to other questions and other things that I've sent to the school board. So it really is a very disrespectful school district in that regard. And that a parent sent me an email, but I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to respond. Or they're not even going to say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate your email. There is a robot that comes through on the I forget which one of the emails I send it to. There is a robot that responds with the same thing. Thank you for your email. We really care about what you say. But then there's nothing said after that. But at least a heartfelt, hey, you know what? Like your email, or I appreciate your email, or your email brings up a really solid question, and we'll get back to you, or we're looking into it, or we'll address it at the next school board meeting. None of that ever happens. So I just really think that's just very disrespectful of the school district and the school board in how they handle these things. What do they do with all these people that come up and speak? Do they really? I see them taking notes, but are they drawing doodles, or are they actually keeping notes? The one thing that a speaker did bring up, and I'm going to probably, I think I'll play her her speech next. It's a minute. I think they gave us a minute and 30 seconds to speak, so it's not that long. I'll play hers, and I hope I have the right one queued up. There were so many good people that spoke yesterday, and it was really hard to narrow down to one. I wanted to play 4 or 5. There was a pastor that spoke. There was, other parents that spoke. There were some doctors that spoke. And so there was so much to choose from. I had to narrow it down to one because there's so many other things I want to get to. But I'll bring in this one, and that is, and I think the issue of what's going on. Why have we lost control of our school? Why do we not know the answers to some of these questions? Why are we not getting answers to some of these questions? So let me go ahead and bring up this video of this particular parent who was speaking, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about what else happened last night. Here we go.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the 3 board members that were representing the parents who spoke at the last meeting, and then sent a request to the Board of Education, who unanimously voted to challenge Newsom over this ridiculous child mask mandate. But that brings me to tonight, where we, the parents, want to know where that leaves us. The board has voted agreeing that parents should have a choice whether the kids wear a mask or not. And so we want to know what that means when school starts. The state left the enforcement up to individual school districts, and we as parents want to know what that will look like. There are many families who do not want to see their kids in masks, and some are considering leaving if that is the case. When at least 50 or more students show up without a mask every single day to every site in our district, will that be okay? Will this be a recommendation or a mandate? Can we sign a waiver releasing our students from having to wear them? And if not, they cannot be suspended under the school ed code of 48900 as long as they are respectful when they are being defiantly refusing to wear a mask. They will have to remain in school. They have to get the proper education that they deserve. So we just want to know where we're at, where it stands. And lastly, I just also want to take a quick moment, since my timer hasn't gone off yet, and say that we also are planning on challenging the critical race theory and ethnic studies that are coming in. Most of us do not agree that most of those articles on there are definitely not school appropriate. They should be left for the home and continue working on focusing on basic education, math, science, reading, writing, the basics.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I like that she had to say there is that she wanted answers. We've been having these same discussions at the school board meetings since I started attending. Again, I'm one of those parents who didn't attend. I just thought things were working fine until I realized that they were not working fine. But since I've been attending all these questions, the question about the mask, what happens if we go to school without a mask? Are the kids going to be suspended? There's some thought that somebody's going to be fined $1,000. Is it the supervisor that gets fined $1,000? Is it the school district? Is it the school board? Is it the individual child or parent that gets fined for the $1,000? What is it that what is going to happen? How are we going to do this? Are you going to fight for our kids? The one thing that one of the other parents said is that when are you guys going to stand up? When's the school district going to stand up for our kids? When are they going to stand up for what is unhealthy for our kids to wear masks? Let me bring up a Wall Street Journal article. I was able to piece it down thanks to Dan Bongino. He on his show he had these breakdowns of this Wall Street Journal piece. It was an opinion piece by a doctor, and you're going to have to allow me a moment to kind of click on a couple things here to make it large enough so I can read it. But it's entitled "The Case Against Masks for Children," and it's by Marty Macquarie and H. Cody Meisner. It's abusive to force kids who struggle with them to sacrifice for the sake of unvaccinated adults. What a great title and subtitle for this particular article. And it's so true. One of the things that I often think about is that, especially when we see these meetings, as we do each one of these meetings of the school board, is that we always have the room is kind of divided, right? It's divided in people who are want the choice, right? They're the common sense people. They're the people that say, hey, I want a choice to do this. So of putting my kids in a mask. I want a choice of whether I have the vaccine or not. And so you have the room of common sense people. Then you have these other people that are just completely fearful. fearful. They always show up with a mask, and then sometimes you'll see them go into the foyer and they'll get tired of the mask and they'll take it off and start talking, or they'll do something silly, right? And they come back where my camera is or where other people are, and they put their mask back on. So you have like 3 or 4 of those people. That it is really odd that you have a small percentage of people. This happens in a lot of different things that we do in this country, unfortunately, is you have a very small group of people deciding the rules. You have the majority of people who say, listen, we want choice. We want to be able to decide whether we have masks on or not. And then those people that are afraid, that are fearful of this pandemic, they can keep their kid home. There's solutions to that. They do have the other solutions available to those people that are so fearful. If you are that fearful, why are you sending your kid into the school and then forcing everybody to mask up because you've decided that you want to send your kid to school? It makes no sense. Are you afraid of the adult, the teacher? Then why are you sending your kids to school? This is one of the biggest things that just really it upsets me, that you have a very small group of people who are living in fear on a day-to-day basis, forcing other people to change the way that we live simply because they are so fearful. The next slide on this Wall Street Journal piece is that some children are fine wearing a mask, but others struggle. Those who have myopia can have difficulty seeing because the mask fogs their glasses. This has long been a problem for medical students in the operating room. Yes, the next thing, man, my banners. Sorry about that. It takes me a couple clicks because this thing keeps changing on me. And then we have the next piece here. It says, masks can cause severe acne and other skin problems. The discomfort of a mask distracts some children from learning. By increasing airway resistance during exhalation, masks can lead to increased levels of carbon dioxide in the blood, and masks can be vectors for pathogens if they become moist or are used too long. Well, that is definitely a case that I know that happens with so many kids. My kids came home with their masks just as dirty as heck. And they, they're wet and you have to wash them. It's just a gross mess. And then the last thing here is that in March, Ireland's Department of Health announced that it won't require masks in schools because they may exacerbate anxiety or breathing difficulties for some students. Some children compensate for such difficulties by breathing through their mouths. Chronic and prolonged mouth breathing can alter facial development. It is well documented that children who mouth breathe because adenoids block their nasal airways can develop a mouth deformity and elongated face. So just more reasons why we need to not have these masks in our schools. And again, when I was talking earlier about you have the people with the idea that everybody needs to be masked, they come up with these things, but never have anything to show for what it is that they are saying. Nothing to support their arguments. I can drive around here in Orange County, over by the Brea Mall on I want to say it's Central, but it's State College Boulevard. There is a location for free vaccinations. I've never seen a car in there. It's still to this date during this Delta, whatever it is, the thing they can't test for the variants, right? The Delta, supposedly it's like this. It's so crazy. You can't even get into a hospital. There's nobody getting tested over on Catella Avenue, over where the Fry's used to be. Nobody in that parking lot getting tested. This is really crazy that we are asking the majority of people who think that we should have the choice to have our children go to school with masks are being ruled by a few people that are fearful by what it is that they are watching or learning on TV, never with any supporting information that supports the position of being so fearful. And so it really, this whole thing really needs to be looked at. And again, we need answers from the school board. I was encouraged, and I don't have it brought up here, but Orange County School Board, the Orange County School Board, the president, Marcy, I think her name is, and I'm sorry, I'm just now learning about her, but I suddenly decided that I like her. She's suing, or the board is suing Gavin Newsom and the governor's office for the mask mandate. So I'm encouraged by that. I don't have enough information. I would give you more. I will try to find the link and put it in the comments if I can find it. It's on the other computer over there. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it up fast enough. If anybody has it and you're watching, if you could throw it in the comments, that would be great. That would be great if you could do that. All right. So the next thing that I want to address here is that we really need parents to begin to show up at these meetings. I just want to come back to that for a minute. Is that much like me, you quite possibly voted Buck in and Freeman, and we need to get them out. They have been in there far too long. I think they both have been there since the 80s or something like that. I don't know. They've been there for a very long time. I could be making that up. I'm not sure. But they've been there for a very long time. It's time to do something different. What's happening now, there's so much resistance. They're just saying, well, that's just that we've been with this company, this whatever online company for the last 5 years, whatever, and we'll just continue to do it because we've always used them. Yeah, but did you not read what it is they're teaching our kids? Just because we've always used them doesn't mean that we need to renew a contract with them. We need people in there that actually do the work like Leandra and Sean do, and that is in regard to looking at what's being put into our children's education and going through the curriculum. It may be boring. They may be over it, but if they're that tired and not willing to look through those things, then it is time for us as parents to vote them out, to find people that are going to run. Some of you that are watching should run if you're in a district that is either Bucks or Freeman's. And, again, I'm going to, Marilyn, unfortunately, and I'm going to pick on her a little bit, but yesterday she seemed to be a little bit better as far as questioning what's going on and having more to say. But Marilyn Anderson she's on the bubble. I'm going to see how she continues to improve on her desire, whether to help our children breathe or not, or deciding that she doesn't want this equity training or this curriculum, this CRT training that they're trying to put into our schools. What side of the fence she's going to fall on? Because right now there's a couple of things that happened in the previous meeting that makes me a little concerned about where she is on all these things. And so we really need to look at what's happening with her. And of course, we already know that Bucket and Freeman need to go, and we need to get rid of them. All right. So that was that issue. I just want to bring that up one more time. Parents, you got to get involved. We need to get rid of them. I talked about the children. I talked about there's 0 studies that conclusively show that masks help children avoid getting or transmitting COVID. There are many studies that I have found, and I've sent to the school district. I've sent it to the school board, studies that I found that say that masks don't work and cause damage to our children, just as the ones that we noted in the Wall Street Journal article. Fauci says he hopes masks don't harm kids. Now, is that not the funniest thing you've ever heard? That funny, not good, funny, bad. In that you have the guy who's supposedly the expert in viruses, the expert in everything that it has to do with COVID, the guy who created COVID, probably, and who financed the research that happened in Wuhan. And he says he hopes they don't harm children. Well, why are we doing this? If the guy who's supposedly the guy that everybody's turning to, like, we need answers, we need the CDC to look at this. We even have the WHO, which another farcical organization, but let's just go to the WHO. The WHO even says, you know what, kids probably don't need to wear masks, but if you want them to wear them, then they should wear them. If they have some compromising thing, then go ahead and have your children wear masks, but that's probably more detrimental. This is the WHO, by the way, that it's probably more detrimental to their psyche, psychological health than it is towards helping them with anything in regard to the virus. So it will leave that up to the parents. But they also agree that it's not something that they should mandate for children in these schools. And again, that's the WHO, which again, I'm not looking to them for any type of authority. I'm just saying if you've decided that the WHO is who you're turning to your information, like Facebook communists do, then they're saying that there should not be a mandate on kids wearing masks to school. All right. One of the things that I like that Sean did towards the end of the meeting, and I'm sorry I'm jumping around here a little bit, but it's just the only way I could do this, is that Sean Youngblood, by the way, he's on the school board, he made a statement that he's looking into cameras in the classrooms. Bravo. Thank you very much. He and I actually talked on the phone. He's one of the people that actually respond to my emails and actually wanted to have a phone conversation with me about a couple subjects. The subjects of cameras in the classrooms was brought up, and we agreed that there need to be cameras in the classroom and microphones, not just the camera, but the camera and the microphones. So we have audio and video of what is occurring in the classrooms. Now, the argument from what I heard him say is that, well, the contract with the unions again, right? We got the unions that they're going to get in the way with this, and they're going to say, well, there's a sense of privacy, and there's all this, that we don't, the kids. What if they're caught on camera doing something? Listen. Number one, for the last 2 school years, we've had cameras in the classrooms through the Zoom, right? We've been able to see the teachers. We've been able to see what they're teaching the kids. And that is, that's the good thing. The good thing is that now parents that are able to see what was going on in the schools and see what's going on in the classroom go, whoa, wait 1 minute. And we're able to do that. So for 2 years now, for 2 school years, we've had cameras in the classrooms. So you can't come back with an argument and say, well, because of whatever, they're not allowed in the schoolroom. Well, what happened the last 2 years? We've had them in the classrooms. Let's just continue this. Continue to have the cameras, continue to have the microphones on in the classrooms, and just continue it forward. Just push it forward. You sign on. You can sign on through the ARIES program, which we have to sign on in order to see the grades of our children, to see what assignments are due, to do a whole bunch of stuff. We have a unique login and username. We log in there. We're able to get into, it's not that hard. I've been in the audiovisual business now for over 20 years. I've been doing this for a very long time. It is not that hard. If they're going to fight against it, well, it's going to cost money. You just spent $35,000 for some online program to teach our kids that they're racist. You mean you can't spend money to put cameras so that we can make sure that our children are getting a proper education? Another thing. We have law enforcement. We had to wear cameras. We have cameras in our cars. We have microphones on us. We have microphones in our cars. We have backseat cameras. We have front-facing cameras. In any one scene on one officer, there could be 3 different cameras on a patrol car, on a moving environment, on us, on our bodies. You're going to tell me that you can't have a camera inside of a classroom and an audio program that can play the audio, the microphone in the classroom? This can be done. It's done all the time, and it's not that hard. There's cameras in school buses and the RTD buses that people take from place to place. There's cameras in trains. There's cameras in casinos. There's cameras on the streets at intersections, watching you drive through an intersection. You can't tell me that this can't be done because of some privacy issue or whatever. I'm giving you permission. Film my kids, all of them. I have 5 kids. Film all my kids in elementary school, in junior high and high school. I have kids in elementary school, junior high, and high school coming up in the next school year. Film them all. I don't mind. You have my permission. I'll sign off. Those of you that don't want your kids on camera, maybe we'll put a position there that they can sit on, 2 rows to the left of the classroom. That is off camera. The 2 or 3 rows to the right of the camera, those are on camera. There's all kinds of solutions. Don't give me this excuse that you can't have cameras in the classrooms because of some privacy issue. Give me a break. We have cameras. There's no place there's not cameras right now. And you're going to tell me the only place you don't want them is in the classroom because of some issue the union's going to bring up, which is BS. We want cameras in the classroom. Thank you, Sean, for bringing that up. I really appreciate that very much. I'm going to get back to the CRT. We need to get back to education. We really need to get back to teaching our kids arithmetic, how to read. We're 25th in the world of all the countries in the world. 25th. America, the United States of America is 25th. We're having to import people because we don't have enough intelligent people because we're not educating our children in a way that allows them to compete with these other countries. And so being 25th is not acceptable. Parents, we need to take back these schools and we need to get off of all these online programs that are obviously not teaching our kids. I'm guessing that if we were to look back when all this began to happen, I think some of this relying on these companies to teach our kids through these online training things is probably one of the issues that has caused us to lose ground without having a teacher there face to face saying, Johnny, this is how you do the equation. This is where you carry the 1. This is where you bring it down. And this Common Core crap, I don't even know what they're going to be teaching as far as Common Core. But somebody say, Johnny, no, that's not how you do that. This is how you do this. Taking the one-on-one or the human being contact as opposed to learning from some video or some computer system, I think is probably one of the issues that is causing us to fall behind. I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you that maybe we need to look at that as one of the issues that we have based on the last school board meeting. There are so many of these programs that we're paying tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars on that may be better used and maybe bringing another body, another teacher into the classroom. Surely a few $100,000 that are being spent on a program could be reuse or used in a different way, reappropriated. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not defunding the cops. They're using some other word where they're redirecting the money to pay for another teacher in the classroom, possibly a teacher assistant of some sort to help with hands-on, one-on-one, taking a child that's struggling and bring them up to catch up with other people. Maybe that's something we need to look into. I wanted to show you an example of one of the Newzella is one of the, hey, Renee, nice to see you. Renee Benuelos over in San Diego. Benuelos. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Didn't mean to butcher your name. Fauci needs to go, says Shar. Absolutely. Yes, all the training. Yes, another fan of getting rid of all the online training programs. It's crazy. Why am I only? I don't know. I have more than just you watching. Just people are afraid to comment. I see several people watching, but only you and Renee are actually commenting at this point. But the rest of you, if you would please comment. I've been so busy rambling on, I haven't had a chance to encourage everybody to comment as you're watching this. What you're watching live or you're watching the replay. I know I'm on at a very odd time, but we have a few other things going on today that this was the only time I could fit it in. So sorry for the afternoon broadcast, but where was I? Oh, I was going to show you this Newsy LA. They called it last night. I thought it was called Newzella, but it's the one that it's. Hetty, do you remember how much we were paying for that? 45,000, 35,000, 55,000, 50. My wife's over here on the other side, working so hard. It is a program that we're obviously paying way too much money for, and last broadcast, when I was telling you about the July meeting, I showed you a newsletter they sent out that Black Lives Matter needs to be taught in the classrooms. And I'm not, you go, when you say Black Lives Matter, it sounds like you are disparaging that Black lives don't matter. No, the name of the organization is Black Lives Matter. And so you have to use that. I just want to make sure that's very clear, that I understand how that sounds, but I know that everybody matters. And I know that saying that everybody matters is racist, but I'm going to say it anyway. Everybody matters. All right. Here is another page I found in Newzella, and I'm bringing it up on the screen here. And again, it's just another page here that says Black Students Matter, resources for anti-racist teaching and instruction. I'm just going to stop right there. I mean, it didn't get past the subtitle of this particular page. Is that what are they talking about? Are we is it anti-racist because currently we're teaching racism in our schools? Are we teaching racism in the schools? I may have missed that in my children's homework that they bring home, that, hey, you need to do your studies on how to be racist. None of that is happening. So what does this have to do with anything in regard to our children? Resources for anti-racist teaching and instruction. And this is a program that we're paying $55,000 for, from what we remember from the last meeting. And it goes into great detail about identity development. Representation matters. And under identity development, it says, start your self-work in developing and building a cultural responsive classroom by digging into your own identity. What? And working to understand how it plays out in your classroom. These 3 courses are broken down by identity marker. You want everybody broken down by an identity marker? Is that so? They're going to include this, that they need to break down the teaching in the classroom by identity markers. When has this ever happened? I used to go to elementary school. I used to go to junior high, and I don't remember any of this occurring in my teaching as a student in any of these areas. What is it that they are talking about? This is really a very strange program here that we have allowed into the Placentia Yorba Linda School District and voted on approving, I believe, in the last meeting at this $55,000 price. And this is what they're teaching our kids. If I go down further, it has all types of checking your privilege. So there's a 5-minute block on that, a 15-minute block, and a 30-minute block. On the first 5-minute block is reflect on classroom discussions on race and plan to listen to students. The 15-minute block, define whiteness and unpack the relationship to systemic racism. 30 minutes on understand how power plays a role in the white privilege and racism. This is the program that we just said we want to teach our children in school. Celebrating Black America. I have no problem celebrating Black America. Don't we have an entire month to celebrate blacks in Black History Month, which is perfectly fine. There's some fantastic historic figures in our country's history that need to be acknowledged. There's some great Japanese Chinese historic figures in our history. There's great Hispanic, right? And so certainly we should always be looking into that. But this other stuff just really has no place. Did you know Celebrating Black America? I don't know why that doesn't end well. Did you know Celebrating Black America in sports? And I'm not sure about that. Empowering student voice. And then it goes speaking up with courage and respect. Barriers of expressing voice, Newsella and action, or News LA. Again, they were calling News LA last night, but I think it's Newsella. And you can go on. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the comments so you can click on it yourself and peruse, and maybe you could take that 5-minute, 50-minute class on how your whiteness is obviously a problem. Wow, that's an entire page that they have dedicated. The last thing I brought up in the last after meeting wrap up was just a newsletter. That's an entire page on their website. So here is the link. I'll send it right to you. And that is where you can go to see that page and how they're going to teach our children that they're racist. And that if there's any black children in our school that see this, that they're going to be told that they are oppressed. And so that's great teaching that they want to do in our schools right there. All right. Let me get back to my notes here. Let me make sure that I've covered everything that I want to. Yes. So those things I wanted to get to, I'm afraid that sometimes, I know you're going to find my wife finds it shocking when I admit that sometimes I talk too long and go too far. So I've been really doing my best. I'm 41 minutes. I wanted to keep it to 30 minutes. But that's a little bit of a wrap up of what occurred yesterday. The last thing I just want to address, and it was how the meeting ended yesterday. Leandra brought up that she wanted to dedicate the closing of the meeting to a police officer that was shot in Chicago. Ella French was a police officer. I understand that I mentioned on one of my other shows that she was a mother. I think there's some news coming out that maybe she wasn't a mother. Either way, she was 29 years old, and she was shot in the face and killed. Her partner was shot, and he is in critical condition. And Leandra Blades on the school board said, you know what, because of so much hatred has been thrown around in regard to law enforcement, she goes, I think it's important that we, at least in this meeting, show that the school board, Placentia Urban School District, is not in that camp, that we respect our law enforcement. And then when one law enforcement officer, regardless if it's in our school district area or not, that it's important to recognize it, just for the sense that we have so many, especially in our school district. I have 5 kids that are going to be attending Placentia Urban School District. I am a police officer. Their mother has a history in law enforcement, a contractor with the FBI, that we surely don't want our kids going to school being told that we are systemically racist, that we are racist people, that we are hateful people, that we need to be feared and not respected. We surely do not want that being taught to our kids. And so I thought it was appropriate. And again, I'm going to be right up front and say I'm a little bit biased, but I do think that it was appropriate. After all, it's a school board meeting. Can you not bend a rule that says, apparently because Karen Freeman, again, the president of the school board, said, it's not appropriate that we do that, and that's not something we do here. And apparently did not like the idea and and let us know that this was not appropriate and should not be done. Again, there's some things that, if you can say that, that the kids need to be, that are white, have whiteness, and that they're racist, if you can say that, then I'm pretty sure that we can, at the end of a meeting, show some respect for a law enforcement officer, even though they're not even in our state, that we want to show some respect and salute them, that could have been done. So I just wanted to tell Leandra that I appreciate that she did that, and I want to thank her, even though it was not within the rules, possibly, and even though that it caused President Freeman some concern that this was being done. I appreciated that Leandra went and did it anyway. Here is Ella French, 29, shot in the face during a car stop, just simply making a car stop. One of the most dangerous things we do as law enforcement is make car stops and go on family disturbances. And she and her partner were shot, and she died, unfortunately, because of the gunshot wound she took to the head. And so we need, as parents, to be aware of what's going on. You need to attend these school board meetings. I know that I do broadcast them. I broadcast them for the people that really can't be there because of work or what have you. If you are home and just simply said, you know what, Andy's going to broadcast this, so I'm just going to stay home and watch it. I would say to you that, I understand what you're saying. There's times where, it's just easier to stay home and watch something on TV. I would say, you know what, do the work. Get in your car, drive to the school board meeting and show up. I think that would be the best thing to do. They're not always exciting. They can be boring, but I will do my very best as long as I'm not out of town to be at every one, but I won't be there at every one probably, and there may be one that I won't be able to broadcast. So calendar, the next school board meeting, when that is, oh my gosh, I should have pulled it up so I could tell you when the next one is. Give me 1 second to do that, PLYUSD. If anybody knows it offhand, go ahead and type it into the comments. That'd be awesome. The calendar here. So we're in September, right? We're going to be in September. Let's see. Oh, I pulled up the wrong calendar. Yikes. I pulled up the school calendar. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up. I can't see my screen right now, so there's quite possibly somebody bringing it up. Why can't I find it? School board. I want the school board. Oh, here it is. September 14th, 2021. September 14th, 2021. They're at 7 o'clock. They do get full. So I got there yesterday at 6:30, and there was plenty of time to find a seat. I got in the front row so I could set up my camera, my tripod, and everything. But within 15 minutes, the room was full. And then you have to have the card, if you want to speak, turned in just about the time the school board meeting starts, about 5 minutes later, then they don't accept any more cards. So make sure, get there on time. Understand if there's going to be probably anything more than 15 to 20 speakers, they're going to cut the time down. I think it's normally 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, and gets cut down to about a minute or a minute 30, depending on how many people are actually speaking. So have maybe 2 speeches prepared. Have one prepared for maybe 3 minutes, and then have one prepared for 1 minute. That's one of the things I often see, is that some people go up there prepared to speak longer, and then they get told that they only have a minute or 30 seconds to speak, and now they have to pare it down. So prepare one both for a short and one for a longer version. But September 14th, 2021 is the next meeting, 7 o'clock. They're on Orangethorpe in Placentia. So go ahead and be there at that time. I saw a couple comments coming in. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's awful. These things that are happening to our law enforcement officers. And yes, thank you, Shar. I was looking on another page, so I didn't see you put it up there. So September 14th, 7 p.m. And sorry, I saw something else come up on my screen. All right, my friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for those of you that attend. Thank you for watching, or if you're watching. Again, I'm not disparaging those that watch. That's perfectly fine. But it's the presence of the parents that are showing the school board that you're not going to let them get away with anything anymore, as we've been able to we've allowed them to get to this point where they feel that they are empowered and have more say over our children than we do. All right, so make sure and show up if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, my friends, thank you again for watching. I appreciate the shares and the likes. So share this out if you can, so that other people can see it and see what's going on our school board. All right, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.